Hey guys, I am back with round six from the 2022 Grand Pacific Open. Um, if you've watched my previous video, which you should have, you'll know that my score was 4.5 out of 5 going into the sixth round. I was having an absolute fantastic tournament thus far, and if I won this game, I would win clear first place. I would win a trophy, prize money, all the glory. I would finally have a good tournament, and it would have been definitely the pinnacle of my so called chess career. And I can't think of anything that I would be more proud of. Um, so I mean, there was a lot on the line. Okay, like I can't underemphasize that. And again, there were 77 players in my section, right? Um, a lot of very strong players. So it's not like it was like 8 people. And it's like, this was a big tournament. This is my favorite tournament of the year. I was playing on board number one for first place. Now, months before this tournament started, and I saw the pre-registered list, and I saw Timur Zurayev in there. I I knew that he was going to do well in the tournament, and if I had to put my money on anyone, I was going to put my money on him. I've said this in previous videos. I've said it on my stream. I just because I know he's a strong player. On chess.com, he's like 2200 chess.com. Okay. And he's played in only like 2 or 3 tournaments, so his rating is still very underrated. I should also mention that his score was perfect. He had a 5 out of 5 score going into this round. I was 4.5, but if I beat him, it would be first place because I would finish at 5.5 and he would finish at 5. Now, yeah, so as I say, I knew he was strong. He's 2200 or just under 2200 chess.com, which is like, I don't know, maybe 2300 lead chess. So he's a very strong player, underrated, and I feared for my life, basically. Um, yeah, so no pressure, right? But no, everything, I mean, it was tremendous pressure. And I did prepare for him the night before. I did a fair bit of preparation, but he played some really annoying lines that I wasn't looking forward to. And it's a little bit hard to prepare for him just because of the lines he plays. It's hard to explain, but anyways, yeah, we shook hands, and he was the only person I shook hands with at the tournament. You know, it is there is everyone was wearing masks. You know, we're still keeping our distance with the pandemic. But he offered his hand, and I didn't mind shaking it because I felt it was kind of right because we were playing for the championship of the section. I don't know if the term championship is the right term. It probably is. It was board one. You know, we were playing for first place. It felt right to shake hands. So, okay. He played e4. He's an e4 player. Only ever plays e4. c5. Knight f3. d6. And then, yeah, he shocked me. Well, shocked is strong, but he definitely surprised me with his next move. He played bishop c4. And this was not in anything that I saw him play before. So this certainly surprised me. At the same time, it didn't bother me because the stuff he normally plays is actually annoying, you know, and I would actually rather face bishop c4, even though I didn't have any, prep against it for him. Yeah, knight f6, d3, e6, and then he played bishop e3, which is his style. Like from his games, I noticed that's kind of his style. The funny thing is, amazingly, I don't actually have this in my repertoire. I do now, right? But before the game, I didn't have this in my repertoire. So, I mean, it's not a big deal. You just play standard moves against it. But yeah, I'm just kind of. it's the main line, and I didn't have it in my repertoire. So I've never seen someone play this before, I don't think. Yet it's the main line. So that's just kind of funny. Bishop e7, c3, knight c6, and then he played knight bd2. Yeah, so when he played this, I figured that he wanted to defend e4 so that he can play. Oh, my voice is gone already. Oh my god. I just finished recording round 4. That's why. Okay, so, but yeah, knight bd2, I figured he wants to play d4, and now he can. I thought for a while here, and then I played queen c7. The idea being I'm threatening d5, right? Because now I have an x-ray on e5. He played queen e2, so now he's doubly defending e5. I castle, he castles. Then I played a6. He played a4. So this is all standard stuff, right? Then I played bishop d7. I've noticed, and the computer likes bishop d7, and I remembered that the computer often likes bishop b7 in these positions as opposed to putting it on b7. Well, b7 is fine too. But I think given the choice, it will opt for bishop d7. Normally, like 95% of the time, if not more, I would play b6 here, which is, I think, totally fine. b6, bishop b7, and then b5. Nothing wrong with that. Completely fine. But I played bishop d7 just because I felt if I looked it up in the engine that the computer would like it. And I thought, okay, well, if that's objectively the best move, I will play it because this is an important game. So I played bishop d7, rook e1, b5, and then he played knight f1. And yeah, then I thought for a while here. I'm curious, how long did I think? Move 12? Yeah, 15 minutes. Yeah, so I spent 15 minutes. Is that too long? Maybe. I might have spent a little bit too long in this move, but I played knight a5. And at this point, I've never had this type of position before. I mean, not like, yeah, it's like the knight on f1 for white, and then my knight on a5. I've never had this before. But I started to get a little bit excited here because I thought that black is a bit better here. Maybe 50 to 70 centipawns better or more, maybe 100. And I'm black, right? And I thought, I'm not holding back. I'm not playing timid against the strong opponent. So I was feeling pretty confident here. He played bishop c2. I played b4. He played bishop f4. I played b3. And then he played bishop b1. And I'm feeling fantastic here. Like, I'm feeling like Karpov or something, like look at his rook on a1. His bishop is also bad. Like and then his a4 pawn has to be babysat. I was feeling fantastic at this point. Yeah, I don't really want to spoil anything. But the computer, I mean, if you don't want to know the computer eval, skip ahead like 10 seconds. But the computer actually says this is equal. But I at the time I thought this was really good for black. I thought it was like -1 or more, -1.5, -1. I felt really good here. But computer says it's equal. And then so after bishop b1, I played e5, which I think was the best move according to the computer. A little bit of a hard move to make for me because I'm moving the same piece twice, right? And I kind of create a hole on f5 a little bit and on d5. and I kind of fixed the pawn structure. But I thought it was necessary because I think I played it for a few reasons, but mainly because I wanted to prevent d4. I wanted to basically control the position and prevent any breaks from my opponent, with such as d4. So e5 was good. He played bishop g5, and then I played queen d8, and I thought queen d8 was fantastic. The computer actually doesn't like it. I didn't really look into it that deeply with the computer, and I think the reasons are not so obvious. I think they're kind of subtle. To me, queen d8 makes perfect sense because now we're threatening discoveries. So, for example, I think if he plays knight g3, I think we can even take here, and that wins a pawn. So, I like it. I mean, do I still like it now? I don't know. Maybe the computer doesn't like it, but I don't know. It seemed good to me. He took on f6. I think this is a blunder or a mistake. I think it's completely unnecessary for him to do that, just giving me the bishop pair. I don't know why he did that. But he did. So I took. He played knight e3. And honestly, I forgot that he could play knight e3. I just assumed he's going to play knight g3. And I just forgot. Oh yeah, he can play knight e3 as well. So, targeting d5. Fortunately, I have g6, which is what I played. So it stops him from going to f4, and then it allows me to save the bishop. The only way I can save my dark steward bishop from being traded off. He played rook d1, bishop g7. I think I was also planning f5 here. He played d4, e takes, c takes, c takes. Hope this is recording. I don't see the recording timer going. That's makes me nervous. Okay. Okay, so he took with the knight, and now the position is getting a bit complicated. I mean, there's stuff to consider here now, and we got to be careful about our d pawn, which is kind of en prise as well. I played. Well, first of all, how much time are we at here? Oh, okay. No, we still have lots of time. So queen b6. He went back to f3. Knight b7. Yeah, and then he played a move. He thought for 5 minutes, and then he played e5. And yeah, and then I ended up spending 10 minutes on my reply, because this move really surprised me. I wasn't expecting e5. And I have a note here saying that I should also note that around this time, it started to get pretty loud around our board. I even talked to my opponent about this after the game, and yeah, he agreed. It was kind of annoying. There were little kids walking around us and being a little bit noisy, not super noisy, but this was such an important game. And since we're board number 1, a lot of people were interested in the game, right? And so, yeah, kids would come by, and this one kid kept walking by. We were right against the window because it was board 1, and he would kind of accidentally, but he would kind of kick the wall, which just made a little noise. And then at the same time, they were packing away the chess sets because, the lower rated games were getting finished, and then they were putting all the chess sets away because it was final round, right? So they were packing things up, and the board containers were like just a few, like 3 feet away from us. So they were packing away the chess sets, and it was noisy. It wasn't like insanely loud, but we're trying to focus, right? This is a very important game. And I was getting a bit distracted. We were both getting distracted. Like, if you ask him, he would agree, right? So it was getting hard to focus. And at the same time, the position was starting to open up and get complicated. Okay, so I played bishop e6. So it took me a while. At first, I kind of panicked here because I can't just take with the pawn because then my bishop is hanging. And I kind of panicked. I was panicking here for a bit, and then I realized I can just move the bishop. So I played bishop e6. He played a5, and this is frustrating because, again, I was slightly distracted by the sound, but that was just one very small detail. It didn't have that big of an effect on me. But when he played this, this is an annoying move because this was such an important game. I know I've said that, but this was the most important game I've ever played in my life. That's fair to say. And it's gonna take a long time for a game to be more important than this one. It's the most important game I've ever played in my life. And he plays a5, and the safe move would be to move my queen somewhere. That would be the safe move. But then I'm like, hey, but it's a pawn. Like, why is he just giving me this pawn? And yes, I understand he can then take on d6. So I guess we're trading a pawn now that I think about it. Right? So it's really the trading of a pawn. Yeah. I don't know. I think I don't know. I wasn't super clear headed here. Anyways, I took on a5. Yeah, if I had reflected upon it differently, I could have looked at it as we're trading a pawn, and that's not a good trade. So yeah, unfortunately, this was a mistake. Yeah, and I spent 10 minutes on it too, 10 important minutes. Because at this, after I take, I'm down to 38 minutes, and my opponent has 54. So he took on d6. And then I made what the computer says is a straight up blunder. But I didn't look into why deeply, but it's not easy to find out why. So I don't regret what I did, you know what I mean? Like, I played queen c7, and yeah, it's not obvious why. I mean, this is a complicated position. Yeah, so I'm not really sure why it's a blunder, like not a mistake, but a blunder. And again, I looked at the computer suggestions, but I didn't look into it super deep. But okay, so I don't really mind making this mistake because I don't think it's simple to understand. He played bishop e4. And yeah, this was tricky. And I thought for 11 minutes on this next move, and I got into real time trouble. I ended up playing what's the best move, but it really cost me on the clock. And this is I don't know about you guys, but this is very complicated. Especially again, there were noise, distractions going around us, and so much pressure to win this game. Such an important game. And by the way, if I drew this game, I don't win the championship. I have to win. If I draw the game, I might get second or third place. I have to win. Because he's got a perfect score. That's the problem with Swisses. But okay, yeah. So very, very tricky. So this was the best move. He takes back. I take the rook. And he blundered here. I think he was feeling the same issues I was, that a little bit of distractions and so much pressure on the game. And he blundered. Yeah, so he played knight f7. Knight takes f7. A desperado that was unnecessary. Yeah, he didn't need to do that at all. Yeah, so I took bishop takes f7. He takes my rook. I take back. Rook takes a5. So it's equal material. I have an advanced pawn, and I've got the bishop. I thought I was better here. I felt better because my bishop is like it's forever protecting the b3 pawn, My rook is better. I felt, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe my rook's the same. But I thought I was a bit better here, a little bit better. And let's see, what time did we have here? Yeah, so at this point, I had 19 minutes. My opponent had 39. Yeah, so rook takes a5, queen c6, and then he played rook a1. I played a5 and knight g4. And this was an incredibly annoying move. Incredibly annoying to deal with because I have to deal with like checks and forks and like mating nets. That was a very good move from my opponent and incredibly annoying. And it took a lot of time out. I had to be really careful with that. And on my next move, I made a mistake, which is unfortunately one of the only losing moves. It was like, other than blundering a piece, this is like the only losing move. And I played it. Yeah, I don't know what you guys would play here. Yeah, but I ended up playing rook e8. I was really panicking. So, because there was so much on the line, but rook e8. Yeah, rook e8 is bad for a few reasons. I think one is that it kind of blocks our bishop a little bit. And it also creates forking threats for white's knight now. He played queen d2, which I think is the only winning move. I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot. I mean, he could have went other places. Well, maybe not. That's the only other square I guess he could have gone to, really. But yeah, he played the best move, which was queen d2. I played queen e6, h3, just creating luft because I'm threatening, I'm threatening some back rank threats here. And on my next move, I spent 7 of my remaining 13 minutes. So I had 13 minutes and I spent 7 of them on this next move. I was really just, I was panicking. So I played rook c8, kind of threatening this, something like this, right? The sad thing is I was thinking h5, just kicking out his knight. And then for some reason I just miscalculated from all the pressure, and I thought he might bring in the queen, but if he does, I just take the knight, so that's not possible. And let me just make the move here. And I thought if he brings in the knight that this wouldn't be good because then I lose the bishop. But actually his knight is so annoying that it's definitely worth the trade of our bishop for that knight. And maybe I didn't like the fact that then we're also going to drop a pawn, but I should be able to, like, this was probably the best option. It was better than rook c8 anyways. Yeah, so this was classified as a blunder by Stockfish. He took on a5, and I just want to give you an update on the time situation. I was down to 5 minutes. Well, at this point, 6 minutes. Wait, yeah. So I had 6 minutes. My opponent had 23. There were still distractions going on. I felt all the pressure. I played rook c2. He played rook a8 check. And we have to be careful. I can't go to g7, right? Because then his queen comes in. He's threatening mate. So I blocked with the bishop. Queen d4. I just want to mention to 38, like, I had 2 minutes. I had 2 minutes. He had 20. I played king f7, rook a7 check, king f8, and then mate. I didn't see the mate. I lost, man. I lost. And with that, so I lost the most important game of my life. It was very devastating. It really hurt. It hurt so much because I was so close to winning clear first in a big tournament. And as you guys know, I've had years of bad tournaments, just years of literally scoring like 2 or 2.5 for the whole tournament, I finally get the chance to win. Okay, I've said it many times, but I just can't underemphasize how much of a disappointment this was. And yeah, I mean, and I had a great position too, right? Like here, I mean, this is great. I felt really good in this position, and even up to here, this is equal, compute, or a little bit better. This is roughly equal. It's equal all the way until well, this was, yeah, rook e8 was a mistake, and rook c8 was a mistake. I also got into time trouble as well, which was definitely a factor. That was most certainly a factor. But anyways, congrats to my opponent. Oh, 1 second. Congrats to Teamer for winning. I don't know why this is calculating this. Let me just close this. Well, can I not close it? Oh, it's hang on 1 second. I'm gonna have to close ChessBase here for a second. I'll open it back up. Yeah, my computer is really lagging now. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so what was I saying? So at the end of the day, I mean, I will gain a tiny bit of rating from this tournament. I'm still waiting for the ratings to update, but I think, well, I don't want to say anything yet, but I think it's going to be like maybe 8 points, or it's something like that, 8 to 20 points. And I actually tied for third place. I won $19 because we shared, right? It was like a 5th place tie, or like a 3-way tie for third, something like that. So, excuse me. So I tied for third, was 4.5 out of 6, which is still a good score. Obviously, it's a good score. I got third place out of 77 players, but it just hurts because I was so close to first. Because it was such a disappointment, I actually told myself, and I promised to myself, I'm not going to play another over the board tournament unless I hit 2 to 3 new personal bests online. So new record rating highs online. That way, you know, I kind of justify to myself that I'm improving and that, you know, it's worth going to another over the board tournament. So however long that takes, it might take 3 weeks, it might take a year. However long it takes, I'm not going to play in another over the board tournament until I set 2 or 3 new personal bests online. Anyways, that wraps up the 2022 Grand Pacific Open. Thanks for watching. I hope it was entertaining or you learned something, or both. Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.